Right, well, welcome everyone to the Future Work Scotland, our February, it is February event. We're thrilled to see you back and welcome if this is your first time with us, and a warm welcome back if you've been with us before. We recognise a few names and faces. I'm your host, Sathpal, Singh, organiser Future Work Scotland, joined by my co-organiser, co-host Donald Henderson. And just quick formalities before we get into everything. We keep it pretty simple here at Future Work Scotland. Very straightforward code of conduct. We simply ask you to be respectful to one another. We want everyone to have a wonderful learning experience. So please do bear that in mind throughout the duration of the session. We'll do the usual updates, etc. At the end, we do have other upcoming events and some other wider updates from across the community. So we'll share them with you in due course. And with that, I am thrilled to welcome Tutu as our guest speaker for February. Tutu is an experienced leadership coach, has some very impressive credentials across coaching, agile. Many of us in the community are agile practitioners, and I saw something about systems thinking as well. So, yeah, a great array of talents. She's also the founder of, I forgot the name of your company there, Ignite Your Path coaching practice.
Exactly.
That's what a wonderful name that is. Yes, and I think in this session, I think Tutu is going to definitely, I think, ignite our thoughts and inspirations because we're all brought here to hear a little bit more about some of the key themes and key ideas from her new book, which Donald and I have both been thoroughly enjoying. I also shared some recent reflections of it on a LinkedIn post, so check that out if that's of interest. But it is a wonderful read, very human-centered exploration of her journey and all that it's taught her and how it's supported and shaped her work, her career, her ideas. It really is a very wonderful, thought-provoking read. And without that, I'm not going to steal her thunder anymore because she's going to take us through some of the detail. I'm going to hand over to Tutu. So, Tutu, welcome to Future Work Scotland. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Sid and Don. And for everyone on the call, thank you for joining us. It's going to be, I know it's been a long day, and I promise to make this exciting and memorable for us. So that all in all, it's going to be a story format, sharing from experiences and the kind of systems and structures that are supported the growth over the years, and that's which we can plug and play as we go along as well. I'm sure many of us we see will be nodding to some of the things which I'm going to be saying, and then it's going to be kind of like a sharing of perspective from how it has helped to shape my journey. And without wasting too much of your time, I'm going to share my screen shortly. And you're going to have to tell me if you can see my screen. But hang on while I find the screen. Let me know what you can see. Okay, so the framework of clarity, how we can stop the loop and start building. Let me ask you three questions. I've already been introduced, so my name is Tutu. So, in our journey in life, we often do some things, and I just want to ask us some questions to sense guess where we are exactly and what has been, helpful in shaping us over time. So don't overthink it. Just humor me as we go along, okay? Yeah. The first question is, if I look at your calendar for the last 30 days, would I know what truly matters to you? If I take a look at your calendar, will I know what truly matters to you? And we're going to be needing pen and your paper or any writing materials you have, just to like respond to a couple of things, but you will have opportunities to go over the video to capture some of the insight later in case you don't have that at your disposal. And the second one is, what decision Are you currently postponing because it requires giving something up? And the third is, in a world where technology is changing weekly, you all agree with me, it's changing weekly as it is. What part of your capability is being more valuable and what part is quietly depreciated? And I know it's concerning for some of us that are in the working in the tech space, how everything is rapidly changing. The world we know is changing. But then let's follow along. If one of these questions made you feel slightly uncomfortable, you're in the right place today as we go along. I have a confession to make. So there was a season in my life when I thought I was very competent at what I do. And then I had a burnout. I found myself on the kitchen floor, collapsed. And I heard, like when hear a voice coming from a tunnel, my children frantically calling me. And I had a housekeeper at that time, and she was calling me. And I said, why are they disturbing me? They should just let me sleep. I mean, I just want to sleep a little. And then I heard, no, this is not just me calling, Mommy, I want biscuits, Mommy, I want this. This is, I mean, they were in a panic mode. And I said, okay, let me just see what was happening. And as I came to myself, I couldn't really lift myself. And I said, what is really happening? But I could. Then I opened my eyes and I saw my children, tears in their eyes. I collapsed on the kitchen floor. Prior to that time, my calendar was full. My inbox was, brimming. People relied on me and I was handling everything. Everything looked like life was going. And I was dealing with some health issues at that time. And I thought, oh well, you know, I'm the rock star. Then one day my body did something my calendar did not budget for. It just stopped. And I remember sitting on that floor and realized something uncomfortable, that the people I'm trying to make life easy for, I could easily have just slipped away. And what will become of my children, my family, my parents, and all that? This happened like many years ago, 15 or maybe 20 years ago, I can't remember. Then I realized something, that the most dangerous hamster wheel isn't chaos, it's competence. When you think that you are good at what you do, you're capable, everybody's requesting for you, that you are sought after, you are praised, you're promoted, you're trusted, and quietly you start drifting. And at a certain stage of leadership, work start changing from, it's not about the tax, it's about more about choices, about decisions you're making. People are making demand on your time. That means the demand on your time multiplies even at the home front as well. And nobody gives you how you should manage things. You're expected to just know and you're expected to just show up. And if you don't have clarity, you default to motion, you default to the subtle trap, and you enter that trap, the trap of business that feels productive. You feel a sense of responsible and important. But sometimes that business is just kind of like avoidance with a good branding name. I received something in the post this morning, in an email from one of those email I subscribe, a newsletter I subscribe to. And I'm just going to read out a certain portion of it. I'm looking at the second screen. It says, what does leadership really require as responsibility grows? The author is Katie Henderson. At a certain point, the very skill that made you effective can start to limit your impact. And I remember a book I was reading in January, What Brought You Here Will Not Take You There. So at a certain point, the very skill that make you effective can start to limit your impact, your expertise, your problem-solving instincts, your habit of jumping in to help and fix. And as your responsibility expands, whether as a people leader or a change leader or your leadership shift, it's no longer about doing the improvement work yourself or having the right answers. It becomes about holding the system, people, priorities, hands off, traits off, consequences, and creating conditions for others to think, learn, and take ownership. Now, I grew up in Africa and I am very much in support of hard work. I mean, we say in the local language that the hustle is real. Hard work is practically a cultural inheritance. But what I learned on that kitchen floor when I collapsed was that expending so much energy, doing so much doesn't mean that you're heading in the right direction. And competence about something doesn't mean that you are clear or you have clarity. And over the years, through the several setbacks I've had and transitions in different ways, right? The career redirection and relocation, I've learned some very humbling life lessons, and I've built a framework that has helped me stop reacting and to start building deliberately. And that is why I chose 7 Anchor to lead us into today's session. And today we want to focus on just one thing, and that is at the end of today, we want to be able to realize a framework that moves us from being reactive business to deliberate, sustainable impact. How can we have that and be able to plug it and play in different areas of our life, our endeavors? So, and why did I choose Anchor? Anchor is something that holds steady when condition changes. And if you're senior enough in your profession, or maybe you're leading a group of people, even in a family, you already know this. Change is constant and growth is inevitable. So tonight I want to walk us through this framework. It's a lived experience, and somewhere in the 7 anchors I'm going to be sharing today, you will recognize your loop. I want you to pause as I share, and most importantly, I want you to also, I will encourage you also to identify how you can stop the loop, your exit point, basically. So I'm going to introduce the framework right now. Let me go to the next slide. The first one is clarity. It's clarity helps us to set focus on what truly matters to us. It's saying what truly matters before we say yes. Direction chooses the next right steps, and accountability invites others to hold the mirror, not microscope. We'll go deep into some of these things, maybe on the surface, because it's quite a lot to unpack. Your mindset, I call it mind shift, help you to be open to possibilities and perceptions from other areas. Then practice is taking action consistently. Refine is about staying teachable even when you have experience. And the last one is integrate. Integration ensures that the learning becomes an ecosystem that helps you to flourish and by extension help other people to flourish as well. So let's start with the first one. Clarity. Clarity is that ruthless elimination of noise so that signals can break through. It's not about having all the answers. Clarity is knowing which question matters right now for me to respond to or for that particular decision I need to make. And working in the IT space as an agile coach, as a scrum master, as engineering lead, whatever dimension in which you're working in this space, we always need to make a decision. Even if you don't work in the IT space, you need to make a decision every day. And it might sound simple that, it's clarity. I mean, we all, it's something that we all practice. Wait until you try it. Let's try it and see how that fits, right? Let's give it a try. I have a question for us. If you could only achieve one meaningful thing this quarter, what would it be? What would it be? Write it down for yourself. So I know we are like middle of the quarter as it is, but you might have written down something that you want to achieve, not necessarily personal, even if it is work related. Write it down. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share it. So you're safe. Now, for those of us that are already maybe writing something down about it, I've done this before, this kind of exercise before. And one thing which I notice, having taken the feedback from people, is that some people start writing quickly. Some of us are still thinking, debating, and that internal debate is normal. And it is important as well because clarity forces us to confront what exactly did I target to finish in this particular month or quarter. And I just want to check in with us. How many of us have AND in our statement? If you have AND, hand, in the statement you've written down, how many of us? I can't see the chat. Okay.
There's nothing in the chat. No.
Okay. So, okay. If you don't have hand in it, very good. So the rule that I like to apply for clarity's sake and to be very crisp with in terms of defining what matters in this moment and in the particular quarter or maybe a year is to ensure that. Now I'm finding the slide now. Yeah, it must be single, complete sentence or statement. No hands and no but. Because one thing which I found out that several people they struggle with eliminating what is not what matters. They have so many things they want to do at the same time. And how can you accomplish a lot within a short time if you have multiple things spread out that you want to achieve? Clarity is ruthless. If you find out that when you're thinking about defining what clarity means to you, or you want to define something that you want to achieve at a specific time, and you're saying, and this and that, you need to drill it down to just one thing. And that is because if we don't drill it down and we start negotiating, and this one matters, and this one matters, I want to do this, then we start getting back in the loop of doing more and more. And then the lines are blurred. Then we get ourselves involved in several things. And agile practitioners, especially agile coaches, are always the one preaching, we shouldn't be multitasking. Very few things, we shouldn't multitask a lot of things. We should just do one thing per time and then move on to the next. But here is a paradox. Clarity is very liberating. It forces you to focus on that one thing. And once you get that in, you start using it to filter everything you want to do. From the meeting you accept, before you make that commitment, before you accept the next call, it helps you to filter. And it has helped me to be able to filter what exactly I want to accept from somebody. I was supposed to go for a conference like middle of the year, and I said I wanted desperately to go for it for some reasons that I don't want to share right now. But when I applied the clarity rule to it, doesn't align with the direction I want to go. And I was like, oh, but this, but that. That is where clarity comes in, because there is a direction of growth. And if the direction of growth is not clear, we will pack a lot of things into our journey. Imagine carrying so many burdens. That's why we arrive at December like we've not really achieved much, or we arrived at the end of our sprint, whatever you are using as a measure of completion on your project or in life as we live it. We arrive at the end burnt out, tired, and maybe achieving 50 of everything and nothing completed. It's not bad in itself, it depends on what you want to achieve. So, how can we apply this? Like we said, how does it serve your priorities? When I'm saying yes to this, what am I saying no to? And when I'm saying no to this, what am I saying yes to? Now, let me show you something that is interesting before we go ahead, which I found really very useful. At the last minute, I added it to this slide. I find it very useful because it's helped me in various ways to be able to understand how I make decisions and how I prioritize things. And how many of us are familiar with the DISC, DISC, emotional and behavioral theory personality test? I can't really see anyone on my screen right now, but if we are familiar with it, then this won't come as a new thing to us. But I will use a gamified version of it using the cards, a deck of cards. From our cards, we have clubs, spades, hearts, diamonds, and we've aligned them. The gamified version aligned them to the disc model that we are familiar with. This is what we default to when we are under pressure. When we want to take any decision, many of us default to this. And some of you, when I ask you for your sentence, because I've done this using this particular structure in another presentation elsewhere, people always kind of like have a certain way of thinking about making decision based on their personality type. For somebody that has a club energy, they are analytical, they are detail oriented, and they will say, for me to actually do just one thing, what exactly do I write as what I want to achieve for this month? If I choose this, what is the constraint? If I choose that, I need more context. They analyze and they want some accuracy. They want more analysis about things before they make decisions. Then you have the hearts. The hearts are those that are they kind of like if I choose this over that, they're more they consider the heart relationship when they are making decisions. How will this affect my family? How will this affect the stakeholders? How will this affect XYZ person on my team? They are relationship focused, and they tend to kind of like slow down before they make any decision. So they are not very quick in making decision, though they have a lot of positive things about them as well. So we're not talking about the negative. We're just focusing on what helps in making decision. Then we have the spade. The spade energy, they are decisive, action oriented. They make up their mind so very quickly. When you're still talking about they are gone, they've made a decision and they're ready to move on. And some of you are already saying, okay, yes, Tutu, yes. So what next? Yes, we already know about this. What's the next thing? Those are spade. They are very direct. And we have the diamond. They are let me use one word we are all familiar with, extrovertish in their ways. They are expansive. What does they are thinking, okay, so yes, I'm willing to do this. They won't even think too much about it. They they are energetic in their communication. They're also people oriented, and they're fast paced as well. They're more inspirational. They like being recognized. They're the social butterflies, like we say. So none of them are wrong, actually. But here's the problem: when we are under pressure, the club will over analyze. The heart will overcommit. I am a heart, predominantly an heart, and like a club and a heart, like 50, 50, 60, or 40%, depending on situations, right? And the spade over heart, while the diamond over blow everything up. Everything is social to them. And then the loop starts all over again because when we are in a pressured environment, we default to what is most comfortable for us. But that doesn't mean that we can't venture into other sides. And many people will never believe if I tell them that I'm an introvert. They will say, no, Tutu, you are not an introvert. But then that's the reality for me. So how many of us would like to be aligned, get our ducks in a row, like they say? When we understand ourselves, self-awareness leads. So when we understand how we make decisions, how we relate, it will help us to relate better. And it will help us to be able to understand how we make decisions so that we can be more clear in what we want to do and the direction we want to go. So clarity is a discipline that steadies us and help us to stay aligned. So let's go on to the next one, which is direction. Direction is choosing the next right step. And with that comes a question I want to ask us as well. Given where I am today, what is the next faithful step of what I want to do? Because self-direction is powerful, but self-correction is rare. How many of us have been absolutely clear about things that we want to achieve so far? And we've done things to help us get in that direction. And how many of us still have things that we've done nothing about and we've been postponing it over the years? I have an inbox that is overfilled and I've wanted to clear it for years now and it's still there. So clarity without direction is like inspiration. You feel makes you write it, you put it somewhere like, yeah, I'm going to do this, but you never set clear intention about how you're going to go about it. You may even buy a new notebook and say you're going to write some things about it, but then nothing changes. Direction is not about mapping out the entire journey, just in the same way we do in our day to day work. I work as a Scrum Master, Agile coach, and we don't finish the whole project within a sprint. We do the next faithful thing that we need to do. And that's the same thing about once we are clear about where the direction we want to go. What's the next thing I need to do? I found it very useful sometimes if every lady, most people, don't let me generalize. Let me use myself as an example. At some point, I wanted to lose some pound, and feel lighter. But the fact is, I keep on postponing my exercises and having the meal prep to be able to help me in my journey. And there was one day I just realized that I just need to do just one thing to do. And one thing for me just starts with one thing: wear my socks, put on my shoe. And I took a sticky note one day and I wrote it down. I said, Tutu, wear your socks, put on your shoe, and I just put dot dot. So I did the first two. Okay, so we're not going to leave it like that. What is the next thing I'm going to do? So it's not about having the roadmap clear cut about where we want to go. It is about taking one step, one application, one conversation, one uncomfortable email that you need to send to be able to set the direction of where you want to go. So I will ask us, given where you are today, what is the next faithful step that you can take? Because direction is not just about where you want to go, it's about what you're refusing to do. Because if you're not taking the next step, then you are doing something else that doesn't go in the direction you want to go. So it's about understanding what is the step, what am I doing right now that is not aligning with the clarity I have, unless you are not clear about where you want to go. Sometimes I find myself, I tell my children, don't scroll, you're scrolling too much. Why don't you go and get busy, go and study and da 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 da. And I find myself, I'm with my phone, 50 minutes, I'm going to put this down. I've got this. Then 30 minutes, I'm like, Tutu, no, this is not what we promised we're going to be spending this hour to do. Then is understanding what is the next thing I need to do. Put down this interesting thing, because scrolling is not the direction I want to go this evening. I have target of things. I was very clear and crisp about what I wanted to achieve this day towards my goal. So tonight, ask yourself, what pressure are you following that is not yours? And what will change if you stop following it and set boundaries? And that is direction. Sometimes we need to set some boundaries to be able to help us and support us in reaching the next steps. So next one, we have accountability. Accountability is choosing people who reflect your truth, not magnifying your flaws. You can choose your direction confidently. You're clear about what you want to do, but you may still be completely wrong or miss the mark, and you wonder, I thought I was clear. Tutu said we need to be clear. Even several books have said we just need to be clear about where we are going. That is not a character flaw, and doesn't mean that you've not checked well or decided well or made the right decision. It's just that the higher you go, the more insulated we get about things. The higher you go, fewer people question you. You're in a home system. You have your children. I have teenage children. And when they were a bit younger, they can't really question me, right? People don't interrupt you when you get to certain level in your leadership because they believe you know it. Not that they don't challenge you, but yes, they said you must know what you're talking about because you must have the big picture. So you get fewer people saying, have you considered this? And because you are competent, you tend to just forget some things. I remember very well, when I was growing up and I wanted to venture into business, my father was my financial mentor. And when I come to him with my books, because he was a chartered accountant then, and he will ask me a question. He won't lecture me or tell me what is wrong exactly. He will just ask questions that makes me to kind of like see, oh gosh, I missed something here. He will say, walk me through your process or your reasoning for making this decision to do this. And that it didn't take agency away from me, but just helped me to understand how I was thinking and what brought about that, and to expose what I can't see because I don't have ears at the back of my head. So definitely there are things that I might have missed. So because accountability at its best does not control you, it sharpens you. And that's the difference between microscope and mirrors. Mirrors will show you, while microscope will magnify flaws. Have you seen microscope of recent? Oh gosh, all those ones, cute ones that they use in reading. So I graduated as a microbiologist. So I've seen my share of microscope when I was in the uni. So I don't see it now because I don't use it in my day-to-day job. But then microscope just shows you the full nitty-gritty things. You don't need people like that in your life to show you all those things. You need the mirrors in your life. People that can ask you, why this, why now? What are you seeing? What is it that you have not considered? And here's a discipline I have built in my life that has helped me and I have used to help my clients as well, because I do take on coaching clients on the side. You must choose them deliberately. Not the people who admire you, not the people who depend on you, because they will sort of tell you what you want to hear, not the people you are who are impressed by you, who will just flatter you, but the ones who are steady enough to challenge you without needing to diminish you. So at senior level, sometimes isolation can be real. You just find that you want to talk, there's not really too many people you can confide in about things for you to be able to, throw ideas around and be able to understand, am I clear about this next step that I want to take? So let me ask you, who have you given permission to challenge you, to question your thinking? So let me put it another way. Who in your life help you see yourself clearly without judgment? There's an adage, I've forgotten the way it's expressed exactly, but it says, when two friends go into a room and they come out laughing, they've not told each other the truth, because they know you sometimes and they're able to tell you, no, this is wrong. We shouldn't be doing this. So if no one comes to mind for you, that's you need to then take some action to say, who can I invite into my life at this point? You might have had people in time past, but are they people that need to be there in this time in your life? Sometimes we outgrow certain companies, so we have to understand, maybe you've outgrown, then you need to be able to invite other people. Because one thing which I found out, that without mirrors, we drift. We drift. We feel we are productive and we go back into that hamster wheel, going in circles and circles, because nobody really challenged our perspective and we think we are getting it right. I remember reading one story when I was small. The emperor has who is going to tell the emperor that the emperor is naked? I can't remember if that's the right one. But the emperor was, somebody told the emperor they've designed a dress for them and it's transparent. And the emperor believed that, yes, they are wearing something. And nobody was able to challenge the emperor until, I can't remember who did eventually. But yes, who is your truth sayer? So how can you create accountability circle among your management, among your friends, among your peers? That's an assignment we need to work on. I'm going to go to the next one. So mindset. Mindset is that pivot from why is this happening to me to what is this teaching me. And I have this beautiful picture of a butterfly that you can see on your screen, because I love butterflies. I'm usually having them around, and my background is blurred. And I mean, I have stickers of them about, because it reminds me transition happens, change is constant, it's always happening. And who I am yesterday is different from who I am today. Last year I was this year. Who knows what's going to happen this year? How am I hoping to embrace the shift that is going to take place? What is this teaching me? And using the cap of a coach, it is being curious about what is happening. I remember very, very, like it was yesterday, And I wrote a story in my book where I was working already in the IT space, but I have business on the side, and I had a shipment. I had a cargo that was shipped and it was seized. The entire business investment was lost because the shipper, it was a container groupage that I did. I'm not going to go into what that means, but meaning that I partner with somebody, we ship, take the container and we ship things together. So, known to me, the item they shipped with my item was illegal. Illegal at that time. They were not supposed to ship in certain type of furnitures, and they shipped it in. And because it was housed within the same container, it was seized. I felt really that I lost a lot of things. But my team, my staff then in my personal business, they really rallied around me. But I lost it. I never recovered it. It was a whole lot of embarrassment because it was a huge order I wanted to fulfill. There was a lot of financial implication. And you know, when you watch films, there's instruments playing in the background. I'm like, something has happened. And you know, you kind of like, but there was no music. It was deaf silence, waiting for news every day. So over time, I felt suicidal. And I wrote about it. And it was as if things were going on in other area of my life, but this particular side wasn't going well. And because it was a lot of financial implication. And I remember the thought came once, it came again, and I was like, this is interesting. Then I said to myself, no, 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 we're not having that. It's a lot more than that. Then I pick up the phone and I called my sister. Because sometimes I belong to a couple of charities and I help young adults a lot. And these are things which I've spoken about. But and I was so surprised it came to me. It came into my mind that I should take my own life because I had challenges. So I picked up the phone and told my sister, this is the thought that came to my mind. And that was, I broke it immediately because I had that sense to tell somebody. Because what society doesn't want is for you to expose it. Once you expose it, you've gained control back. And I started shifting my mind that failure or setback in something is data. It's not the end, it's data. Success is also data as well. So, how do I manage the two data points that I have? It has to do with my mind. It's choosing the interpretation of what preserves my agency because events will happen. And after that, I've had different life changing experiences as well. But because I was opportune to be able to change that and use that, I now use it in different environments where change has met me or where I'd met change. So under pressure, we default to one of four distortion depending on your personality type. For clubs, we overanalyze the failure. Why me? Why did it happen to me? Maybe, and trust me, some years ago, I went for a promotion at work and I didn't get the promotion. And I was like, why me? Because you know, I'm also a club and also a heart. I personalize the failure as if, oh my God, you know. And Spade, they try to outrun the failure and push it to one side. And Diamond, they detach from it. No, it didn't touch me. Yeah, let's go on. Yeah, yeah, I'm happy. Oh, yes. Sort of like deny that incident that has happened. None of this helps us to create strength. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? It is, what is this revealing about me or about the system? Because sometimes it's not about you. It's not. My promotion, I didn't get my promotion, it's not because of my personality, it's because there was something that I needed to do. And it's having that clarity. So, what is this revealing? Is there a weakness in the system? Is there an assumption that I made when I was submitting it? Because I made an assumption with the container, the cargo. Or is this revealing overconfidence? I mean, it's just me. I mean, I can't. You go for a job interview and you're just so confident that you're going to get it and you didn't get it. And you're like, what? Don't they know I'm a rock star? So it's sometimes reveal dependency on what? So how can we strategically reframe and not deny the setback? And that's mindset shift. So what capacity, what's current challenge could be reframed as preparation rather than punishment? Because I've since moved on from that container and I've had brilliant life after it. So imagine if I fell victim to that thought and I decided to, what's the language my children use when we're talking about this? Like, I've forgotten, like hand it, just like that. I won't have all these beautiful memories. I won't be here with you today. So let's talk about change. Maybe what we've talked about in the IT space, we have a lot of change taking place right now. A lot of our colleagues have lost their job. You know, one or two people that have lost their job. I mean, I certainly do. So because of the change that is taking place right now, people become anxious, scrolling the LinkedIn, they overconsume content. But none of that is strategic. It's understanding, yes, it's excited. It's not about what AI will destroy in our world. It's calm. It's calm. It's here. I remember when we were doing a particular course, lean portfolio management, and we were talking about it's a VUCA world. It's real. We talked about the industrial age, and we're now in the technology age. I don't know which one we're going to next. And I can imagine what they went through that time that we were disposing of all the typewriters that my, parents used when they were, still young. And we brought in the computers. And it was like, no, it's not going to happen. You remember the days of the BlackBerry, even before BlackBerry, and we had all these big Motorola phones. So change is something that is constant. It's asking what part of my role can I automate, will be automated, is automatable, that I may need to think about. What part requires me to adjust? What skill set do I need to add to myself to be able to be relevant in the new normal? What part of my capability is going to become more valuable in the environment that is taking off now? That question changes everything. So interpret change as signals. Right, so let's move on because of our time. And we have practical application of all this. In your teams, let's say everybody have leadership teams. You can say what went, instead of saying what went wrong, we can change that to be what did this reveal about our system? If we have success, we need to understand how did that success happen? That's what being a microbiologist taught me. Though I studied it for 4 years, but it just impacted my thinking in a way. What went wrong? Teach us about how we're doing this. And as a science student, we write down all these notes. We take down all the changes we've noticed and to understand why it happened. We query it. We don't discard all the negatives. Just like those films of old, you destroy all the negative. The negative are actually what you develop into the pictures. So let's move on to practice. Practice is the unsexy discipline that turns intention into identity. Many of us have heard of Tutu Ariyo, where you work on something, you've mastered it, then you are now at the same level as your master, where you can now talk, sit on the same table and talk about matters. They're no longer teaching you, you're sharing perspectives about it. And that's one thing about practice does for you. So, for practice, many people don't talk about it on LinkedIn. You know, practice is not about motivation, it is just repetition of something. That's why I call it unsexy. You just repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over again until you become the master. So in the engineering team that I work with, you do not deploy a feature once and declare it stable. You iterate, you test it, you monitor. And in our personal leadership as well, sometimes we expect transformation to happen overnight. Or maybe after we've shared an insight, we've told somebody about something that they need to sort of work on. We expect changes. I have young adults that I manage, or maybe they manage me. And you tell them something, and they're like ships. They go back to it. I'm like, didn't you hear? We decided we're not going to do this. Don't expect transformation to happen. You need to put a practice in place to help. My sister, I'm going to use everyday examples. I said we're going to be sharing stories today. My younger sister told me and complained bitterly. The son started secondary school. And every time after sporting activity, he comes home, he's lost one tie or lost something on the other. I said, every week I keep on buying new things. It's very funny to me because I've gone past that stage and I was like, calm down. So, what did you do to support him? Because this is a new environment to him. He's not just going to just realize he needs to put his tie when he removes it before he goes for PE, remove his tie and put in his bag. Walk him through the process. Let him walk you through the process he uses. How can you support him? Understand the process. Then you are able to build check and balances in place. And let him repeat it at home, the process. Then it becomes something he has practiced in your presence, and he knows when I remove my tie, is there a song that goes with it? Is there an acronym? And that's how, following that, I didn't hear any complaints again. So, for some of us, we attend conferences, we feel inspired, we download slides. Okay, yes, I have download for us here too as well. Then nothing changes, and you wonder, we've spent lots of money on conference, attending conferences. So it's not lack of information, it's lack of repetition, lack of practice. So I returned to formal education in my 40s because I told myself I wanted to raise my children, have time to raise them. So I told myself when my last child turned 10, I'm going to go back to getting more education for myself in terms of certification courses and da. And when he became 10 years, I was like, gosh, I'm free. So he's going to be 17 this year. And it was difficult for me to learn. And you know what my daughter told me? He said, Mommy, you said we should repeat it until it sticks. I'm like, oh my gosh, from the mouth of babes. So I did what I told them to do. I used sticky notes and I put them all over the house, and I started learning all over again. So for you, it might be something else. And you just have to see within yourself how you can design a repeatable loop. It might be 15 minutes a week analyzing something that you need to do. It might be A 10 minutes self-retrospective session that you need to do for yourself to be able to understand what are those things that you need to drop and what are those things that you need to sustain. So, but one thing which we don't want to do is to depend on motivation. One thing which I've learned trying to shed weight or keep fit, let me put it as keep fit, is that motivation spikes a lot. It's high today and down tomorrow. And if I leave things I want to do to when I'm motivated, what happens? When I don't have motivation, I end up not doing anything. So practice doesn't care about your mood. No. Practice cares about cadence. And it goes back to accountability. Who is your truth sayer? So I read the book by, is it Marshall Goldsmith, where it mentioned that he paid someone to be an accountability partner for him. And it goes to that person at regular cadence that they've decided, and they will say, this is what I commit to. I've done this, I've done that. And then the person, they'll just have a conversation. But because that time is in the calendar, he knows, oh, yes, I'm going to have to work with this person. I'm going to have to go for this meeting. And he chose somebody that was junior. So he didn't want to kind of like, dent his own reputation. So he ensured he kept to his end of the bargain. So, what are you most afraid of in achieving your goal? How would you go about finding somebody that would ask you the hard question? You might even send them the question, say, ask me this. And I've had to use my daughter, she's very good. And I'll say, I need you to be my accountability partner. In fact, she became my accountability partner in helping me to stay healthy because I needed to save myself from myself. How many of us have been in that situation? So, pick one practice this month that you want to engage in. What is that one practice that will change everything if you did it consistently for 3 months? It takes time for new habits to pile on. And we go deep in this when I'm in sessions with people, one-to-one session or group session. We're not talking about habit formation now. We're talking about you practicing something. And that helps you to build your architecture. And you have a rhythm to the things you are doing to help you in your transformation. And you can plug and play these with teams as well. Let's move on to refine. Refine, I love refine so much. It's been when you stay teachable, even when experienced. Staying teachable, even when you're experienced, is that discipline heart of adjusting what works so that it works better. So, is that ability to be able to ask what is still true? What is not helping me? So, I use this particular retrospective for myself. It's called it's used by the military and it was mentioned in the book by Michael Bongesteiner. Review, action, forgotten it. Review, action, after action review. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So it asks you what worked, what did not work. What did you plan to do to achieve? What part of it did you achieve? What worked, what did not work? So in understanding what worked for me, what did not work, then I'm able to choose what can I do differently. So you don't keep shipping version 1.0 of yourself because it performed well once. Because what brought you here is not going to take you to the next level. And I purposely use the image of that sharpener where we are able to sharpen ourselves and see how we can make things better. So, how can we do our internal audit on ourselves? What belief or practice served you in the past but might be limiting you now? That's a very thoughtful question that we can give some attention to. What served me in the past that I'm still circulating, but it's no longer serving me? Me, your me is the clarity you have. and the direction of growth. And those are your technical depths that you need to work on as a leader. It might look like some habits, overused strengths. It might look like overconfidence that you might need to understand about yourself. It's not always palatable, but then once you are able to work on them, identify, then you can start the work of looking at how you can refine and keep getting better. Moving on to integrate. Integration is building an ecosystem where you multiply your impact. At the beginning, I said it's about how you help other people to flourish, and at that same time, you also flourish in the moment as well. It's about what wisdom are you carrying that only benefits you? And for a leader, that is not something that we want to encourage. It's something I say to people I work with. I say, if you're a single source of failure or a single source of success, you've not achieved anything. If we can't get anything done until you are there, you've not made any impact. So how can we ensure that the process works for everyone as well? Continuous feedback, ensuring shared ownership. We make work feasible and we ensure that wisdom is shared. So if I step away tomorrow from my team, will this practice continue? Will they be able to? I know we're in the industry of me, 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 me. It is when I'm there that things happen, but that is not leadership. It's not. So let's bring everything together because of our time. Let's talk about the system in motion. This is something that is not something that is static. Today you may be good in one aspect. Tomorrow you may need to work on one specific one to get better. So, and is in identifying what is that one anchor that you want to focus on in this quarter or in this month, maybe this week. And who is that person that you're going to invite into your life as your accountability partner or to be accountable to? And how can you build a system of support for yourself to be able to embed your learnings? I'm going to give us space for us to ask questions just right after this. But I'm leaving us with one thing. Clarity reveals what matters most to you, and direction helps you to choose the next best steps. While accountability helps you to prevent drifting away from your core and your mindset, having that right mindset, extract intelligence from every disruption that comes our way. And as we continue to practice, we build the muscle to be able to carry us from one transition to the other. And when we refine, it helps us to keep us adaptable, flexible, and help us to upgrade our systems. And integration makes it sustainable and help us to multiply our impact. So I'm just going to stop right here and take any questions.
Nice, Tutu. That was thought-provoking. I like the questions. I was scribbling a few notes myself, but things I should be thinking about. But no, thank you for that. Lots for us to think about there. Nothing in the chat. It's a smallish group, so yeah, feel free to stick your virtual hand up if you want to just unmute and chat to Tutu. We've got about 10-15 minutes, so we can definitely take a few questions. So yeah, now's a good time to chip in with your thoughts, folks. So yeah, don't be shy. Any thoughts? Any questions?
Yeah, I just say thank you to Tutu for being so transparent with us. It's been really useful. Um, I've been in similar places to you, and I still have those things to work through. So yeah, it's been an interesting session, and I think that the things that you have shared with us are really cool. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. That's very kind of you. Jacob, you've got your hand up. Do you want to ask a question? Maybe that was an error, was it maybe?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Can you hear
All
me
right,
now?
cool. Yes, we can hear you now. Yes,
Okay,
please
so
go
I
on.
just wanted to, my question is, can you just summarize the session? Like, what are the key takeaways?
Okay, so the key takeaways is one thing which I would like us to take away from here is choose one anchor for you to focus on this quarter. Invite one person into your life as an accountability partner, and it can be a person or an instrument that can help you to stay accountable to yourself and refine your process so that you can build a system of support for yourself. The summary of everything which we've talked about is here. Everything on this page, I hope you can see the page. I'm still sharing my screen. It's about how you can ensure that you're clear on what matters most, the direction for the next steps, your accountability, and building that intelligence so that when disruption comes, you can reframe and shift and build the muscle to practice that which you want, the direction in which you want to go, and keep refining and being flexible, then ensuring that you multiply your impact. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much. That helped.
So further to that, I have something here that you can scan. It's going to give you the a prepared guide of reflection that you will receive it in an email that you can walk through. It has those questions that were already asked with a bit of a little more, and that will be something that you can use on a repeat. Any more?
Great, thanks to do. I don't know. Something's just popped in the chat now. Let me just check. Oh, here we go. There's a question from KD here. Tutu, have you found that people struggle with any particular step than others? So struggle with one of the things you've outlined more so than they do with others. Is that something you've seen or experienced?
Practice.
I thought
Yeah.
you might say that.
Practice. So there's a particular way I run through this when I'm in session with people where we actually build the framework in such a way that you sit down and you analyze and you're able to do the trade-off. It's brutal. We do the trade-off and you are clear on what you want to do, down to how you want to do it and where you want to do it. And the beautiful thing is that you refine it. If how you've selected how you want to do it is not going to work, then you refine. But what it will not do is to leave you hanging. And that's where most people struggle, to be able to stay on course and practice. You know, there's a story about somebody learning a keyboard that is it better to go for 6 hours straight of practice or to do one hour at different times? One hour at different time is what helps is like consolidate or helps you compound your learning than for you to do a 6 hour stretch and say, oh, you've mastered it. And that's one thing about practice, consistency. And that is how accountability helps you to hold you to what you've committed to. Any more questions? So one last thing for myself, if there's no more questions.
There's nothing in the chat, no hands are up, so yeah, go for it.
Just one last slide from me. Let me see where the slide has gone. Okay, so I want to offer a free clarity call for anyone on this call. And you can scan this and reach out to me on Stock to Brilliance Coaching with Tutu. It's 60-minute free coaching call, no commitment whatsoever. Then where we can walk through at least maybe it's one thing that you can be clear about. And I have a framework. All these things are a framework that I develop and I use in my coaching practice with people. So if you're interested, you can use this. After 1 month, this code is going to be revoked and you won't be able to access it again. So feel free to use it now within the next 1 month and book a slot to speak with me if you're interested. And also my book is available on Amazon, where I shared all the stories there. And if you want a signed copy, you can reach out to me personally for that. But aside that, is available on Amazon. And thank you very much for having me, my very wonderful host. I hand over to you.
Thank you. That was great. It's good. Yeah, and I think those of you who maybe joined a little bit later, Donald and I have both been enjoying Tutu's book immensely. It's a really nice, thought-provoking read. It's a very honest account of her journey, the things she's learned, and something that I think most of us can relate to, because she's talking about right back to quite, early parts of her life and her childhood and all these things. And, I was reading bits of it and it kind of made me reflect and think about some of my own journeys. There were certainly things that were kind of analogous, that reminded me of some of my own things. It made me think about some of my own similar experiences. Obviously, not all of it was, some of it would be nice, I think, for, well, I was thinking about my daughters. I've got 2 daughters, and bits of it made me think about some of their journey, maybe things as a dad that I maybe wasn't necessarily as well acquainted with and things like that. So I think there's a lot of really interesting things in there. So, definitely worth checking out if you've got time and fancy reading it. I think it's a very a thoughtful and considered account and journey, which actually Tutu's very articulately kind of helped the reader to understand how it can really influence your professional journey, which again is something that we really enjoy thinking about and working with our community on at Future Work Scotland. So a lot of the sessions we bring here are very much, deliberately picked and chosen to help everyone to continue on their learning journey and look at ways that they can, plug the gaps or learn more about themselves or become more self-aware, or just, pick up some new fresh ideas and tools and inspiration that might be valuable in one aspect of the day-to-day work. So everything we do here is geared towards that. So just to call that out. And thanks again, Tutu. That was a great session, and I hope to finish your book soon. So I might give you some further thoughts and reflections as they come in. I think I'm a little bit over halfway through. So yeah, do check it out. Just as we often do as we start to close out, we've got a little bit of time. We already have our next session in, which will be our closing session for Q1, which will be with Sean Blair. I'll put it in the chat. You'll find it in Meetup. Great session. Sean's also released a new book, and really his work is all about systems thinking. But what he's looking at is how a number of different complementary methodologies and practices come together to really make systems coaching a very transformative thing. But he's also going to be looking at some of what we need to continue to be thinking about, and a lot of us are talking about the role of critical thinking as we move forward is going to become essential as we start to become a little bit overwhelmed, and there's a little bit of an ongoing AI deluge, isn't there? So something I think for all of us to think about. So well worth checking out that session. And also, as you may have seen, because Donald did share it in a few places, just to remind you all that Lean Agile Scotland is now open for submissions for proposals. So, now's a good time to get them. And I think the deadline's maybe end of March, if I remember correctly. So if you're interested to be considered and would love to speak at the Scottish conference, which is, well regarded more widely across the global agile community, has been one of the leading conferences across Europe for quite some years, then definitely check that out and get your submissions in before the deadline. It's in October this year. It's usually in September. This year the team have moved it to late October. So just bear that in mind in case you in your mind think it's in September, because that's normally when it is. And the last one's a personal one from me quickly. I have a upcoming Kanban training course running next week. It's the Applied Professional course. I did share it in the community channels that we have. That's still open if you want to join that. It's a great 3.5-day course. And I'm also offering the Future Work Scotland community a generous little personal discount, which you can activate by using this discount code if you're interested. Also, if you want to know a little bit more about the format, what it entails, and please do feel free to reach out to me, or if you know anyone who you think might want to participate or take advantage of that kind of training to level up their Kanban skill set, then definitely encourage them to get in touch, because it's covering a lot of really good stuff, and it's not just the average run-of-the-mill Kanban is a board with a bunch of columns. We really get into a lot of detail about how to build systems, how to optimize them, how to use flow metrics, various things like that. So lots of good stuff there. Just because we have a little bit of time, is there anything else anybody wanted to share with the group? Any other upcoming interesting things for the community? Any other meetups you'd suggest? Any other talks coming up? There is, of course, Kanban Edge, which you might have seen. I've just remembered. So that's in early March. So I'm involved in organising that through my other role with BCS, Agile Methods. So I'll be in London for the beginning of March. It's on the 4th. Let me dig that out if you're interested to come to that. That's another great conference. So check it out. Louise is still on the call. Louise was there last year. So if you're interested in attending that, and if you're a BCS member, actually you get a nice little discount for that as well. So well worth checking that out. There's still, I think there's about 10 tickets left or something. So going fast, but there are spaces, so have a look at that as well. So yeah, a bunch of different good things for you to continue your learning and help you to continue to grow professionally. And that's what we like to do here at Future Work Scotland. So yeah, good. Right, got a few minutes left. Any other thoughts? I don't want to bring it back to Tutu, but she's our guest speaker. If there's any final little quick thoughts or questions, you may as well take advantage of it while we still have her for 7 minutes. Sorry that I did that to you, Tutu. We have
That's
a couple
fine.
of minutes. It's if we don't, then I'll bring this to a close early. But another great session. Thank you. And if you did miss any of it, or you had to drop off for a bit or come back or whatnot, you can catch up on the recording. We'll have it up on our YouTube channel in the next few days. So check it out. And as I said, check out the book, the other conferences we've mentioned, and anything else that you think would help you to grow. And my training is still available and it's running next week. Thanks, Michael. Great to see you, actually. It's been a while. Right, if there's nothing else, I'll give us back all a few minutes. Maybe you want to go back and enjoy some more of the Winter Olympics or something, or catch up with your kids, or have dinner perhaps. But yeah, thanks all for joining. It was great to see you all, and we hope you'll see you for the next session in March, and we'll continue to build up the rest of our programme for the year. So keep checking out Meetup for other future events as Donald and I build them out and get them available to you. So great to see you all. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you happen to be. Thanks again, everyone.